Awesome. Welcome. Today we're going to chat just a little bit about supplements and how they can totally improve your cycling performance. Huge caveat here in the beginning. Two kind of important principles. One is nothing can like replace whole food and clean eating. And of course, proper exercise, right? Like a good training plan, a really good nutrition plan, that's the money. That's where it is. So by all means, like that's the thing that you need to focus on. But as I think any endurance athlete especially would know that you just hammer yourself out there. Like you literally are getting hammered over and over again when you're training. And so some supplements are like really important. And I have right now on the screen, I have a picture I took earlier today of some of the typical supplements that I take. Some of them, I can see three of them right there that are just for fun that I'm kind of just testing out because they were sent to me for testing purposes. So I'm doing that. Some of them are things that I just enjoy, so I want to make sure that they're in my system all the time. And others are advised by a doctor because my particular body needs them. So again, first principle about supplements is that they are exactly that. They're to supplement. They can't really replace clean eating, especially from whole foods. Raw, organic is by far the best. And I mean it when I say it, that I'm not a tree hugger. Like I'm just not that guy. Um, but I kind of, turned into a little bit of that in the sense that I love the way I feel when I eat whole foods, raw, clean, organic, especially so because of my son and some of his special needs, like our nutritional plans and programs around the home they have for sure turned organic and they've turned raw and all whole foods. And so no dairy, no gluten in our house, that kind of stuff. Love it. I totally love how I feel that way. But principle number two, of course, is supplements aren't always that generalized. So some are absolutely specific to what you're deficient in. So understanding your own body, understanding what you're deficient in, that's key. And so, finding and creating a relationship with a doctor that you trust, that can specialize in some of these areas with blood work and athletic performance in particular and hormones and so forth, then you can find out what you're short on and then you can start figuring out how to supplement that. So your personal deficiencies are always important. So let's start down the list. Like I'm going to get my little pointer out here and we're going to start first with this one that you see on the far left up top. That is a digestive enzyme. So this is kind of just a basic general one for me. Digestive enzymes help break down the foods that you're eating and helps the absorption of them and helps them not mess up your GI tract. So if some foods are a little more sensitive to, like corn or something like that, then you may want to consider doing a digestive enzyme before and or after you eat some of those products because it will just help break it down. That one's kind of simple. Let's go to this NK cell activator. This is a product made by Life Extension. I take one, maybe two of these a day. Basically, your NK cells it's called your natural killer cells. They function in your body as first responders. It's basically as soon as NK cells sense any kind of invasion, they're quickly on the scene and they initiate immune protection. So your natural killer cells, your NK cells, promote support for your body's natural defense system. It's like an immune system boost. Like that, you should know how important that is as cyclists and endurance athletes, how bad our immune system can get beat. We can really beat it down and really suppress it with all of the intense exercising. So when I did Race Across the West back in 2016, that would be, I kind of pushed some of the limits and I was not necessarily that well prepared for that. And my immune system was beat up quite a bit, like really beat up. And I picked up a ton of stuff, basically a bunch of viruses, a bunch of bacterial infections. And for the next few months, and year or so, I was dealing with stuff that I didn't have to deal with, only because I had this immune system issue. And so ever since then, the team of doctors that I work with, there's about 3 or so, and I use them all for different reasons. They each are like a piece to my puzzle. Immune system support is a big deal, and I kind of think it's a big deal for a lot of people. What you don't see on this desk of supplements I also take pretty regularly is vitamin C, for the same reason. It just really helps recovery and boost immune system. So this NK cell activator, these natural killer cells, this little immune booster is also something that I can feel helps with some recovery, just because it boosts the overall immune system in the body to help fix damaged things. So I love it. NK cell activator. Again, I take 1 to 2 of those a day. The next one that we're going to talk about, let's go to ATP fuel. See the little red dot down there? ATP fuel. So ATP fuel is designed, like this product at least, is designed to support your Krebs cycle. So that's the cycle of cellular energy production, and it takes place in your mitochondria. If you remember back in like 7th grade science, I don't know if it's 7th grade, but whatever science it was where we learned about energy production, all of your power and energy come from the mitochondria. And that's like, what do they call that? The power plant, I think, the power plant in your cells. So it's your body's primary energy producer. And it's essentially this formula of ATP fuel is designed to just optimize that and increase the efficiency of the production of ATP by the mitochondria. You're supposed to take 5 of these capsules in the morning and another 5 or so in the afternoon or evening. I actually slack on this. I take about 5 in the morning and that's it. I'm terrible. I need to take more. This webinar is good because it's going to help me remember that I need to take more of them. Also, right on top of that, you'll see the, what is that? The BioSlim Burn. I think that's a fat burner deal. I'm not going to talk much about this one, or far to the right, the Test Core and the Nomax Shred. Those are one of those like social media like gimmicks where they want you to test some of these things because they think it's going to help shred your body. I agreed to test them for this company, and I think in terms of water weight reduction, like it helps, but I'm not sure I feel anything else. So we'll just skip that one because it's not something that I normally take or necessarily encourage. This, the next one right over to the right of it, this glycemic manager. This is good. So look, our glycemic, like the glycemic issues in our metabolism, when we consume foods on and off the bike, like we can create a lot of insulin spikes, especially if we're not very good with our nutrition plan. Like on the bike nutrition for me is just as important as off the bike nutrition, something I have to learn. So part of the whole fat adaptation process that we talked about before on a previous webinar, sometimes there's mistakes and or some foods cause issues. So this glycemic manager I really like because it really supports a healthy blood sugar metabolism. It's a pretty comprehensive formula, and it's full of natural botanicals, and it kind of just lessens the impact of foods with glycemic, with a high glycemic index. So in other words, if you're taking a GU or a carbo rocket or something like that while you're riding, this will help reduce some of the impact in terms of the insulin damage that can happen or the insulin spike. So really, really like the glycemic manager for off the bike stuff. So I don't really worry about it on the bike. So I just take, 1 or 2 of those a day. This next one, I love this. I know the Garden of Life brand is a little controversial because a lot of the plant-based brands right now are suffering because all the plants are like soaking up arsenic in the ground and that kind of stuff. But this Garden of Life energy focus mix tastes kind of interesting. Like I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of the taste, so I mix it with some other stuff. I'll show you in a minute. But I feel like totally energized with it. Like it's one of the things that I legitimately totally feel. It's an energy and focus. It's organic. It's a blackberry drink mix. It's specifically designed to boost energy levels. It's supposed to help you focus during your workouts. It's made as like a pre-workout drink. There's hardly any calories there. It's all plant-based organic ingredients. There is 85 milligrams of caffeine, but it's organic coffee berry caffeine, which is interesting. There's vitamin B12 in there. There's all kinds of nutrients that are required for fat and carbohydrate metabolism that's in there. There's 220 milligrams of whole food vitamin B12 for the energy production side of things. So it's just rad. There's also some organic plants in there. I keep referencing a few notes that I made about this product. There's also some organic plants in there that are specifically put in there for the nitric oxide blend. Now that's important. So you want to boost your nitric oxide. That's basically boosting the capacity to deliver oxygen and fuel to your muscles, right? So you want to increase that nitric oxide process, like the ability to increase your red blood cells, all of that. So they've got like organic kale, organic spinach, organic beets, all rich in nitrates, all helps deliver the oxygen and the fuel to your muscles. So this particular pre-workout drink is amazing. I actually never take it for a pre-workout. All of my rides are fasted, in a fasted state. So I'll just take water, maybe a spoonful of almond butter or something, but typically I just take water and some branched chain amino acids, which we'll discuss later. But so yeah, I do not take this before a workout, but I do take it like before I go to work. So when I take most of these supplements, I do all of these supplements basically at once, and I do them usually with this mixture and head off to work. So yeah, pretty great, right? All right. This other one up here, this is thyroid medication. So there's a specific brand. It's called Nature Thyroid. For a little while, and I don't understand why it was not available. So doctors were pretty upset by that, but it's available again. So you don't have to do the compounded version. This is one of those things for me. This, by the way, and the ATP fuel are the first, and the NK cell activator. Those three are the first ones that we've talked about so far that have been advised by one or two of my doctors, right? Or three of them, depending. So I blood test, of course, and have consistently showed up with a really, really low thyroid. Your thyroid is super important. It's that little butterfly-shaped gland in the back of your neck. It basically is the main control organ for your, or not organ, but gland for your hormones. So everything that helps keep some of your major organs like your heart, your brain, your muscles and stuff functioning properly, it helps create and control many of your other bodily functions, including, for example, like your energy and if you're feeling sluggish and some of that kind of stuff. So for me, the thyroid medication is pretty important because it helps just cut down some of that tired, sluggish, fatigued feeling, which is really, really important, right? I take, based on my blood test, I take 3 grains a day. I'm up to 3 grains a day of this, and it seems to be helping. So this next one below it is microbinate. So microbinate is essentially a formula that helps fight off bacterial strains. So this is also something that I get from one of my doctors. And by the way, these two brands research, or these 2 bottles of Research Nutritionals, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, Research Nutritionals. That's a brand that you can typically only get through a doctor. You might be able to find it online somewhere, but it's going to be hard to find. Like typically they're available only through doctors. They're very, very high grade, very, very pure. That's why none of this stuff you can get at like High Health or anything like that. I mean, this is all pretty good stuff. Yeah. This helps with bacterial issues that you can get. And so for me, when my immune system was suppressed after Race Across the West, I was carrying a ton of bacterial and viral strains all over the place, and this is one of those things that helped with that. Up here, vitamin B12, I think that speaks for itself. For some of you that don't know, like, it helps form the red blood cells. It's huge with your energy production, you know, your nervous system, cognitive function, that kind of stuff. It also helps with some of your metabolism issues. B12 is a big deal. So I take one of these lozenges a day, or I do an injectable B12 once a week, just depending on how I'm feeling and what I'm using. Okay, this one below here, this is detoxin. This is one of those ones. It's supposed to help cut down with some of your weight issues. It's really, really, really big with trying to attach itself to all the toxins in your body, and then it just detoxes them. So it really facilitates some reduction of body fat. It reduces some of your waistline and stuff, but it's really concerned with cleansing your intestines and your colon, and I'll tell you, it does a really good job of that. So the first time you take it, if you take too many of these, you're in total trouble. Microbionite, I take 2 a day, by the way. This detoxin, I take 4 a day, 2 in the morning, 2 at lunch. Same with this thermogenics, I take 2 at morning and 2 at lunch, and this is a companion product. I get both of these at NutriShop. That's where they're from. So let's see if I lost my pointer here. Yeah, okay. So thermogenics is just designed to help reduce water retention and supposed to target stubborn body fat. So I've used those on and off for a few years now, and I really like them. The detoxin I really, really like. That's a good one. Okay, this artesunate. Artesunate, if you notice, if you zoom in on that picture, and this picture, by the way, is part of the handouts in this webinar, so it's there. The artesunate is an injection that I get from, you can see on the thing there, I get it from China. No kidding. Artesunate is actually something used to treat malaria. That's like the most common use, but the reason that I take it, because it's very effective at it, is for antiviral purposes. So it actually helps a little bit on the preventative side from getting too sick. You know, while a lot of people are sick, like I'm not necessarily ever, you know, sick. I mean, I have stuff every once in a while, but not like everyone else. And so that's really good. But it helps like keep the viral load down. So when through my blood work, I've got extremely high viral loads and very weird ones like Bambesia and some of these other things. Again, all tracing back to some of the endurance events that I've done where I really suppressed my immune system, and I picked up a bunch of stuff. So not good. Okay, this brown bottle here, L-arginine, 1,000 milligrams. This is an amino acid, and it's really the one that helps produce nitric oxide. We talked a little bit about the whole nitrous oxide. It's the gas responsible in your body for lowering your blood pressure. It dilates your blood vessels and improves your circulation. This literally is what lets you do a lot more activity, but using less oxygen. It decreases your lactic acid and ammonia in your muscles, so that helps reduce your fatigue and your soreness. I mean, it's like a huge benefit. You can benefit from this supplement because it just allows you to keep cycling for longer periods without tiring as much. So I love L-arginine. I actually read up a little bit on it recently, and it's used by some people for erectile dysfunction. How about that? I didn't know that. So you're supposed to take about, according to this bottle, you're supposed to take about 3 a day. I've been taking 1 every morning because if you see right next to it, this Optogen is probably a well-known brand in the cycling community or any endurance athlete community, like triathletes and runners and stuff. It's supposed to do the same thing as L-arginine, essentially. You know, it's a stimulant-free formula, and they're proud of that fact. They're pretty much advertise that all the time. It's legal, it's safe, of course. And it's designed specifically to improve your oxygen utilization. Same thing, you know, delivering oxygen to the blood vessels a lot better. It allows your body to adapt to high levels of physical stress. That's what they claim, right? But one of the things that I like about it is it also promotes, this formula in Optogen also promotes a higher VO2 max, because it helps with, they got some stuff in there that helps with your ATP production. It also helps with some of your metabolism issues, kind of like the glycemic manager would, in the sense that it has chromium. So Optogen has a nutrient in there called chromium, and it regulates, or not an nutrient, but it has chromium in there, and that regulates your nutrient breakdown. So when your nutrients are broken down by your body, it's gonna make sure that that's a little more equal, and so it distributes a little better. Sustained amounts of basically nutrients to your muscles that are working and non-working. It reduces your insulin spikes. It just kind of balances the breakdown of stuff. So that's really good, as obviously as an endurance athlete. A lot of us will take something like Optogen if we're going to go race where we're at a higher elevation and we feel like we're breathing through a straw, right? In my opinion, it improves your performance regardless of where they're racing at high elevation. So I highly recommend it. Up here above L-arginine and Optogen, you have a little bottle of vitamin D3. D3, or vitamin D, functions kind of like a hormone, actually. It's a chemical messenger with some seemingly widespread effects, actually. So it's really important for, immune health, cardiovascular health, obviously bone, neuromuscular. So the immune system benefit, the neuromuscular benefit, and the cardiovascular benefits. Why I take it, if I get stronger bones for it, great. But I take, let me back up to Optogen real quick. I take Optogen 4 of those a day, and D3 I take 1 to 2 a week, because it's a really, really high dose. So, okay. Next, on the right here, you see this Beetroot Pro, and on the far left, you see this Beet Elite. Those are two different brands of beetroot powder. So beets, as everyone jokes about that being the legal form of EPO, and they're not wrong. I mean, it's amazing how they're supposed to, it's a natural like food version of Optogen or L-arginine, right? They're really rich in nitrates. They're supposed to be a natural vasodilator. So they really, really, really dilate your blood vessels. It increases circulation, which as you know, when your circulation increases, then, it's going to build and repair your muscles better. You're going to recover faster. You're going to have a better, and a more efficient oxygen delivery process going on with this kind of a supplement. So your brain and your body is going to feel a little clearer, a little more efficient. One of the reasons I like Beetroot Pro, even though it tastes like dirt, just FYI, Beetroot Pro tastes like dirt. Beet Elite tastes good. But Beetroot Pro feels a lot more clean, a lot more natural, and a lot more potent. So I've kind of switched over the little while to Beetroot Pro, and I just mix it with something else. But it also has, so Beetroot Pro also has magnesium. It has some B12 in it, some potassium, and some branched chain amino acids. I think Beet Elite might. I haven't checked in a while, but I know Beetroot Pro does, so I really like it. And it's not sweetened, so it literally tastes like a dirty beet. Yeah. But I mix it with branched chain amino acids. So I'm going to grab one. I have it behind me. So I forgot this earlier with the picture, but if you look on here, this is Stance amino acids, branched chain amino acid complex. I get this from NutriShop, and to me, they're like the highest. I mean, there's there's the 3 main branched amino acids. I'm not going to try and pronounce them because I'll probably totally mess it up, but there's the main 3, and then there's a whole bunch of other ones. It has them all. It has a really, really high dose of them, and there's 5 calories in it. I mean, it's crazy, right? So it's basically like drinking water, and it tastes awesome. They have 3 or 4 flavors, and they're good. So I've been a huge fan of Stance branched chain amino acids, and branched chain amino acids, just, they're basically the building blocks of your muscle. So they play super specific roles in your health and your performance. You want to make sure that as an athlete, you're going to retain your muscle and you're going to burn fat. So these branched chain amino acids really help with that. It retains your lean muscle, helps preserve it, while helps increase instead the fat burn instead of your muscles. So There's also improved glycogen resynthesis from branched chain amino acids. There's improved mineral absorption, improved focus during your exercise. Like, it has to break these down into a free form for them to function. So amino acids, at least. So when you consume them like this, they're already in a free form. And so they can address their function almost immediately. To give you an example, the last couple of very long rides I did, like just last Saturday, I went from, a bunch of us did. We went from Gilbert, Arizona down to Tucson, Arizona, and then up to the top of Mount Lemmon. It's about 150 miles total, like the way we did it, and 10,000 feet of climbing. And anyways, I fueled on water and a nut butter and branched chain amino acids for the first like 115 miles. I did have a donut because a friend gave me one in the middle of the ride and I couldn't resist, but otherwise it was a nut butter, branched chain amino acids, and water. So branched chain amino acids for me are like essential in my water bottle right now. It's also something that I use to cut in some of the beetroot powder. So I'll take some branched chain amino acids, one of those flavors there, and I'll mix it with my beetroot powder. I'll mix a little bit of branched chain amino acid complex, the stance ones that I like, in with my energy focus one, the Garden of Life. So those are very much so like the go-to supplements that I use. Again, there's some vitamin C and some other things that I didn't put on here that I use quite regularly as well. I try to take at least 1,000 to 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day, if I remember. Pretty helpful in your recovery. I really like it. So let's go to, just so you know, I have some blood work that I'm happy to discuss that I put as a handout on here. I also have some notes. So I'm going to show you right now some notes. I'm going to show you some notes from the doctor, from one of my doctors. Just a minute. Okay. So in October of last year, this is some of the notes, and these are some of the things with dosages and so forth that I'm supposed to take. Okay. I go see a doctor in Seattle because I think she's one of the best. So my son goes up there, and so I go up there. I fly up to Seattle, and that's who I see. Her name's Dr. Dahlgren. She's amazing. All right, so you'll see that I do blood work every 1 to 2 months. That's pretty common for me. I kind of have to keep on track of things. And there's an energy multiplex, by the way, that I don't take anymore, but that's pretty awesome. It's kind of like ATP fuel. CoQ10 power. A lot of you know about the CoQ10 supplement. I take that often. I'm just not taking it right now, but I'll be taking it again soon. Anyways, you'll see the ones that are for improved energy or optimal athletic performance towards the top. That's like this one right here, the ATP fuel. That's money. That's one of my favorite ones. The mitochondrial restore, money. I don't have that one anymore. I probably need to do that. I had some kidney issues, so I was taking these pure salts and this Kaimaka thing. It tastes like total dirt. I didn't like it. I'm glad it's over. So none of these are necessarily forever supplements. It's just based on what your body's telling you now. So again, here's all these other things that I've been taking. This one I didn't bring with me. It's an naltrexone. It's basically an antimicrobial and immune support deal. I take every night, one of those before bed. So yeah, I'm supposed to do testosterone and that stuff. I'm still, figuring that out. I don't know, thyroid. Yeah, so that's from October, and it gives you an idea of the dosages and what I'm doing, what I was doing then. Let's also take a look at, this one is from December. Basically, you'll see a whole bunch of things are not on there anymore. So still taking the thyroid, the vitamin D, let's see, the vitamin D3, a lot of that stuff's still on there. So ATP fuel is, I got to tell you, ATP fuel is one of the things that, and Optogen are one of the things that I just can't imagine not taking. Like, I really love those supplements and I take them all the time, and I feel like they're super helpful. Just absolutely super helpful. But again, all of this is supplemental to what you and I know we ought to do, and that is whole, clean foods. So I went through Spark Systems once upon a time, and I did the nutrition analysis. And this here that I'm showing you is their nutrition plan. This breaks down this breaks down all of the, like, not on a macro basis, but essentially like how many fats and proteins and so forth I should have for as an endurance athlete. The high intensity plan is for like a short, intense day. Then there's my recovery meals. Talks about some goals. Here's some sizes on here. Here's a breakdown of carbohydrates that you should be doing and the things that you shouldn't be doing. Right. These are all like proportions and meal size of things that I can eat. So pretty cool. And I'm happy to share that with you if it helps you in figuring out your own nutrition issues. I'm going to go back here to the picture of the supplements. So guys, in conclusion, I got to tell you, some of these are just for me. Some of them are probably good for a lot of you guys. Like the beetroot powders, the Optogen, the L-arginine, the ATP fuel, like a lot of that stuff is just really good. Highly recommended. Vitamin C again, highly recommend all those things for most people if they want to up their game. I've also been on and off a whole bunch of other things. So happy if you could in the comments, if this ends up on YouTube or on a website, whatever, happy to see your questions and or comments about what we should consider maybe sampling or trying out. Like, I've been through a lot, but I haven't obviously seen everything, so I'd love to know. But I do know that these things work pretty well for me. I appreciate spending all this time with you. And if you have questions, reach out to me. You can always reach out to me at ben@bikeaccidentattorneys.com. You can find me on Facebook, or give me a ring, man. 855-663-3922. Happy to chat with you about this stuff. Awesome. Have an incredible adventure, and don't stop doing what you do.